Hey everybody, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description of this video for some of the best online retailers. Thanks. What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I'm going to be updating you guys on my top 5 most carried knives over the last couple of months. I've done this video a whole bunch, and it's so funny. I just gotta say, it's so funny how all of us have our preferences in our rotation and how they change slightly over time, right? It's not that your preferences change so much as that you change the way that your preferences are applied to different knives that you've acquired, right? So some things in this list are gonna be the same as last time, and other things have changed dramatically, and I'm excited to share them with you. Thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. Seriously, guys. Thank you so much for supporting me right now. If you'd like to check out my Patreon, there is a link right down in the description. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. All this stuff, if I can, will be linked down below, or at least the manufacturers that make them, so you can check out everything that's going on. So please feel free to check out those links. I'm going to start off here with a couple of honorable mentions because some things, kind of slip in there every now and then. They don't quite make the top 5, but they're in there. Oddly enough, the Rat 2 has been carried quite a bit. This is a size comparison knife. I bought it here somewhat recently, but I don't know if it's like nostalgia or if I just like the carry profile. Everybody knows. Rat 1, Rat 2, legendary knives, very inexpensive. You can get the D2 variants for, what is this, 40 bucks? Yeah, it's still, I kind of just been coming around to the idea of this for just a general sort of around the house EDC, right? It's not something I take out and beat on or anything like that. I just like the profile. It's easy to use. It's simple. And I think it's probably because I'm so familiar with it, right? It's one of those things where I see it and I'm like, that's what I'm going to carry today. It's not super often, right? Not quite top 5, but definitely in there. Next up, since you guys did another honorable mention. So if you guys don't know, I had everybody over the course of 2 months, I said, hey, I want to do something special for my 50,000 subscriber giveaway. I want to have you guys vote on a knife that's valued at $500 or less. And whatever one gets the most votes over the course of, it was like 1.5 to 2 months, that's the one I'm going to buy. It looked like the Demco 8020 was in a ridiculous lead for the longest time. So I had an opportunity to buy one brand new, and I did, with the intention of giving it away. And then if you go back and look at that poll on my community tab, which is actually still there, the Sebenza 31 came out of nowhere and beat it. So I had to buy the Sebenza, right? So my promise was that, while I wouldn't be giving away the 8020, I would be giving away the 31. Since I had to pay for this, I thought, well, then I'll go ahead and use it. I mean, I would be doing the knife, in this case, an injustice to not do that since I own a titanium one, right? I know a lot of you guys have been messaging me saying, can I buy that? No, I'm gonna keep this. I appreciate it, but I did want one to EDC. I'm not gonna pretend I didn't want one for EDC, So yeah, that it did kind of work out, and like I said, I had to pay for it. So this guy has just here recently been making it into my pocket. I suspect it will make it into my pocket a lot more. So the next time I do this video, expect this thing to make it much higher up on the list in the actual top 5, the Demco 8020. I hope these become more available soon, guys. I know that they're not super available right now, and even when they are, these MG, G10, and 20CV or whatever steel variants come in at $425. They are fully US made, right? Not inexpensive in the slightest, but yeah, I really enjoy it. Even though it's big and kind of bulky, it's just fun. It's a pride of carry thing, I guess. And then finally, up for honorable mentions, the ZT-0392. This is another knife that I really enjoy carrying, and this last couple of months, it didn't quite make it into my pockets as much, but it definitely made it in there. There are a lot of things that I recently acquired that I've been carrying a little bit more, and other things that I have owned for a while that for whatever reason just seem to make it into my pocket more. It's weird how much more now it's just a subconscious reach. I'm just like, this is what my brain wants to carry today, and there's a little bit of thought applied to it, but it's more so just, that sort of emotional connection to the thing, right? Or my experience with it in the past. So here recently, this one, not so much, but I still very much enjoy carrying that guy. I wish that one was available, but as most of you know, the ZT-0392 is long discontinued, and that was a purchase on the secondary market from Blade Freak. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the actual top 5. So I don't think that this is going to be a major surprise. It's going to make a lot of sense. Literally every day since I have, since this was sent to me, which was very recently, literally every day, the knife that's made it into my pocket, coming in at number 5 because it hasn't been that many days. The brand new Demco 8020.5, very specifically the shark's foot. These are not available yet. These were sent to me directly by the Demcos. I got one in shark's foot and one in the drop point or the clip point, whatever you want to call that. These are made in Taiwan instead of the USA. They're using OS 10A, not OS 8, not OS 10, OS 10A, right? And they're using the Grivery scales, and they do have, it's like a countersunk steel liner in there. This has just been so optimal. There are so many elements with this knife that create for a perfect EDC knife, including, at least in my opinion, overall length, the blade shape, the blade stock, the ease of manipulation, right, ambidextrous nature, the handle profile and choke up position, right. If you go back and watch my quest for the ultimate EDC knife or quest for the perfect EDC knife, this knife really nails a lot of that stuff. And what's funny is I did that series before this was even unveiled. I never knew they were going to do this. And my personal checklist, right, what I went over at the end of that series, you can go watch it, but I concluded that the Sage 5 Lightweight was about as close as it got. And then this thing comes along, and I gotta tell you guys, I like this quite a bit more than the Sage 5 Lightweight. It just kind of hits so many of those little marks, and I've really enjoyed carrying and using this knife. It is wonderful. It will absolutely climb up to probably the top of the list for the next time that I do this video. So these are coming. I don't know when they're going to be available. I'll provide search links down below so that they, when you use them, at some point it will populate when they come to retailers. But that's about all I can do. So at number 5, right, a very powerful number 5, the Demco 8020.5. Moving on here, I don't think this is going to be too much of a surprise. One that's pretty much always going to be around is my Hinder XM18 3.5 inch. This is a tri-way, but it's an older one, an S35VN. This is the one that I refer to as the workhorse. You guys know I like to nickname my Hinders Dark Horse, Workhorse, right? This has a smooth, full thickness titanium scale on it. And you guys know the story behind this one. I owned it for a while, and then I sold it to a local buddy, and then I decided to buy it back from him because I missed it. I think I carry this one a lot. Just number 1, because I'm a gigantic Hinder fan. And number 2, because they're just really scarce right now. They're really hard to get. And I just like, I feel lucky that I own one, right? And so I want to, carry it. I also, want to have it around so that I can keep people's attention on Hinder knives because I really, really support what they do. I love the company. I love the different designs and how well they cater to, all different people looking for different things when it comes to a knife. And I'm so confident that more are coming. So I always have it around. I always like to carry it. This thing has just continued to be so excellent and smooth. The lock disengagement is great. There's no lock stick or anything like that. It's just been fantastic. I love my XM18 3.5 inch. That is the size that I like to carry. This is a full thickness one. Not a fatty, but the 165 thousandths. Some people prefer the skinnies. That's what's been dropping here lately. But that's the one that I like. Moving on here, another one that's not going to be a gigantic surprise for a lot of people, the Spyderco Pair 3. This thing's always making it into my pocket. Always. But now that I have the Demco 8020.5, which is very similar in size, all right, take a look at this, just show you guys. Yeah, you can see here ergonomic lines, very similar. Choke up positions, very similar. There's no hump in the back right here on the spine of the blade. And it has one of the opening mechanisms, which it has technically 3 in the same spot. So that's a lot of the reason why I'm so drawn to this guy, because the Pair 3 that I've been EDCing forever, this Maxima Pair 3, has just become like an extension of my hand, and I really prefer, just for general EDC, it seems like I'm reaching for this one, a lot. I used to reach for it, over everything else, but when it just comes to comfort and convenience and stuff like that, and if I'm not putting the whole, I want to carry something flashy and crazy today, this is what I traditionally reach for. Again, It won't surprise me if the Demco kind of surpasses it, but the Para 3 will always be a part of my general rotation, even if it's not in the top 5. It's just funny, you know, like I said a while back, I was like, it's going to take something really, really special to knock that Para 3 out of the top 5. And I thought at the time out of the number 1 position, but while I still carry it, it's just definitely not my number 1. I will definitely link the Para 3 down below. You can absolutely still get that knife. Moving on here. One that might be a surprise, it might be not a surprise, right? It just depends on how much of my content you watch. This is second most carried here recently, and that is the Microtech Stitch. I've always been attracted to the Borka Stitch because of the ergonomic lines. I just loved, you know, before I had ever handled one or even a Microtech variant, I just loved the idea of choking up and locking in behind that little harpoon notch back there. And these things just have such a massively unique vibe to them. Now, this is not a Matic knife, it's a big knife. Fortunately for me, it's totally 100% legal to carry this knife here. It is big, it is bulky, and it is ridiculously tall. So if I'm going to carry this, it's like I got to mentally prepare, like this is definitely going to take up a bunch of room in the pocket, and I'm going to be aware of it. But gosh, I love this thing. And it's a conversation piece. Every time, you know, anybody who sees this, you know, and it's not like I whip it out in front of people and try to show it off, but if I'm around somebody that I know, you know, isn't necessarily bothered by any of this, then I always go out of my way to be like, hey, you should check this out. And people are always like, oh my gosh, that is so wild and unique. I will say, you know, I agree with everybody. If this were manual, I would much prefer it. The hole in the blade doesn't do anything. It's just there for aesthetic purposes, right? You can't use it to deploy it. You have to use the firing button, which is cool in and of itself, but I think in the long run, I would have preferred just a manual version of it. It would have been neat. It's held up incredibly well. This is absolutely the most robust automatic knife that I own and honestly have ever seen. I'm sure there might be more robust automatics out there, but this is just... it has that overbuilt nature that I like, right? It has the uniqueness. It has the really cool ergonomic lines. It's got a lot of the fit and finish elements that I like. It's US made, right? There's a lot of reasons. Even though this doesn't traditionally look like my thing, if you've been watching my channel for a while, it does have a lot of stuff where I'm just like, oh yeah, I love it. That's what I like. And moving on here, number 1. For whatever reason, this is so weird. And it's still a knife you can get. I don't know what it is. My fascination with reaching for this is just, I honestly think it's just like it's like a personal mental fad. I have this weird desire to carry this thing all the time. At some point it'll fade. But the knife that I've still been carrying the most is the Strider 3/4 AR. This is the DLT Trading exclusive in S90V. This thing has gotten better and better and better over time. Full titanium. This is a really expensive knife. These are $600. I'll link them down below. You can absolutely still buy them. But mine is tumbled with the satin finish M390 blade, and the LBS disc is actually this. It's been replaced from the factory version. This is a zirconium one, but I just love this thing. In the beginning, it was very tight. A lot of people ask me about this all the time. They're like, is yours stiff? Is it hard to disengage? Yeah, in the beginning, it was very tight. It was a little bit difficult to disengage. I even had a brief period of lock stick. There was a time where one day the lock stick was really tight. And I told myself, no, I've gone through this before. I'm just going to keep on moving. I'm not going to mess with it. Just going to keep on using it. And I did. And now, I'll show you guys, disengagement is ridiculously smooth. So is the action. This is running on phosphor bronze. Super easy, no lock stick whatsoever. It's so smooth now that I can easily do the reverse flick. This has only gotten better, and it has stayed perfectly centered and completely and totally solid on lockout. No blade play or anything like that. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world. In fact, it's kind of a brick. I said this last time. Choked up, it's okay. So, I mean, there's a lot of awkwardness here. As somebody who puts as much emphasis, you know, I put a lot of emphasis on ergonomic comfort. It has the lines that suggest that it might be comfortable, but you get your hands on it and you're like, it's kind of weird, right? I don't know what it is. I think, sometimes I'll see it laying like this. For whatever reason, this side of this knife is really attractive to me. And my brain I'm just like, that's what I'm carrying today. You know, I just do that. It's not that thick. The blade stock is super thick, but like the knife itself is really not anything crazy. This is the Para 3, by the way, right? The titanium is somewhat thin. I think the titanium is probably 125 thousandths. It is heavy, definitely, but I don't know, it just seems to work with me. Obviously, if I was wearing athletic shorts that day, this is not the knife I'm going to carry. This is, if I'm wearing jeans or something similar, this is the knife I'm going to carry. It comes in and out of the pocket ridiculously easy. That pocket clip works super well, and while it isn't necessarily a deep carry clip, right, there's not a ton of knife sticking up out of my pocket, but truthfully, I've just thoroughly enjoyed this. Like I said, I will link that down below so you guys can check it out. But I think that's going to be pretty much it today. This is always fun to do. It's always fun to update you guys. I'm going to guess the next time I do this video, this list will be dramatically altered. The list has been somewhat the same the last 3 times I've done this, which is I try to do it like once every 2 months. So over the last 6 months, my carry preferences or the knives that in my rotation have been very, very similar. But the next time I do this video here in a couple of months, it's going to be dramatically different. Absolutely. I think that's going to be pretty much it today, guys. Again, thank you very much to the people who are supporting me right now. This is, you guys have been awesome. You guys have just been incredible. The support that I've seen here in the last few days for this channel has I just can't believe it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, the people watching and subscribing, supporting this in any way. Thank you so much. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on, well, they can't show the stuff at the end anymore. Apparently, that's something I can't do anymore. Find my subscribe button and please click on it and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.